After the battle of Naruto versus Sasuke, the fate of the ninja world, it shifted in a major way, which ultimately led us to the mostly peaceful Boruto era. But as many fans know, whenever you transition away from an era where there's open cold warfare between nations to one of unprecedented peace, things, they don't always go as expected. And this time period after Naruto Shippuden, it was no different in that regard. There were quite a few people who did not fully embrace this vision of peace that Naruto fought so hard to make possible, and that Kakashi as Hokage was trying to serve as a bridge in order to establish it in a permanent way. Between those who experienced the infinite Tsukuyomi dream world and believed that Madara was right, to others who worshiped the old Sasuke driven by revenge, to those who feared Kakashi's changes that he was implementing as Hokage, there was open turbulence that you never saw in Naruto Shippuden. Like, for instance, this one time where Sasuke Uchiha was framed as a terrorist who not only plotted openly against the Hidden Leaf Village, but also the Sand Village, and it was a bad faith actor planting false information and seeds for the belief that Sasuke wasn't truly reformed and plotting to take on the Five Nations in a more strategic way than Madara or Obito ever did. Join me in today's newest installment of After Naruto Shippuden, where we take a look at what happened during this time. For those of you guys who are new to the channel, After Naruto Shippuden is a series on the channel where we take a look at stories and scenes that occur between the events of Naruto chapter 699 when Sasuke leaves the village and Naruto chapter 700, which marks the start of the Boruto era officially. Some of these stories have been animated, but with significant changes by the animation studios, and some, like this scene that we're discussing today, they were never animated at all. The information is going to come to us via the Naruto epilogue story Sakura Hiden Love Riding the Spring Breeze, which takes place after the events of Naruto the Last, where Naruto and Hinata are already engaged to be married and are in the process of planning their upcoming wedding. During this time, Sakura and Ino are both being sent to the Hidden Sand Village to meet up with Gaara. But during this time, there are bad faith actors looking to take advantage of Sasuke being deemed still to be untrustworthy by many in the ninja world. As previously stated, the Uchiha during this time period, they're in a bit of a funky place legacy-wise. Some former shinobi, they abandoned their ninja villages to go to places like the Land of Silence, and others, they directly formed a cult that wanted to carry on Madara's plan to make a world without winners and losers. And in one case, there was a group led by a man who was carrying out massacres because he viewed it in his way as honoring Sasuke's decision of going against the ninja system. In this instance, we have a group that sees Kakashi leading the charge for the Five Nations to demilitarize, get their feudal lords to cut the military budget, something that if you read Boruto's manga, you remember Shikamaru mentioned that they had budget issues in the manga, and those affected by this, they have begun plotting against Kakashi as Hokage, and they plan to use Kakashi's black sheep student Sasuke to do it. As Sasuke was told by Kakashi in Naruto chapter 699, Kakashi used up almost all of his political goodwill to get Sasuke pardoned instead of life in prison like the Kage and the public wanted. These people, most of them loyal Anbu to Danzo, and others wealthy people who benefited from the shinobi system, they saw the shifting of a military budget where resources were going more towards the general public and a lack of conflict as a roadmap to a world without shinobi being needed, shinobi being optional, and by extension, the economy that profits off of the shinobi world and system itself being a shell of itself. Which is why, using some rather interesting methods, they set out to frame Sasuke in the way that they did. And they timed this failed rebellion inside the Sand Village with Sakura and Ino's arrival into the village. With the scene and the context being set, it's here I'll begin reading these selected passages from this portion of the story, which if you want to read it for yourself, the affiliate links will be here in the video itself. And as a quick promo, Brenton's art over on Twitter has been doing an amazing job drawing the chapters of this light novel itself. I'll leave a link in the description box to his Twitter. He's got about 3 chapters already drawn. I know not everybody can afford to buy the light novels even via the affiliate links. Hence, we get videos like this, and why I'm really proud to see what Brenton's art is doing, bringing a lot of these stories to life via his drawings. So give my man a follow. And it's here I'm going to begin quoting. A man wearing a traveler's coat, bearing a single sword, stood face to face with a man in a black vest with a sharp glint in his eye. Behind the man were dozens of his companions, but the man in the coat was alone, only a single eye visible, the other hidden behind his hair. Several tents had already been pitched. It was a hideout surrounded by rocky mountains and sand. The tents were the color of the sand, making it nearly impossible to spot from the sky. Are you serious when you say that you'll join up with us and commit acts of terrorism in Konoha? The man in the vest asked. The man in the cloak nodded. I will. Don't make me repeat myself again. This is different from the story I heard about you. They said you gave up your hatred against Konoha and you're fighting to repay the Hokage. Is that what they say? People, they change. My hatred, it didn't disappear. I thought it had for a minute, but I was wrong. I intend to move again and destroy the Hidden Leaf Village, the man said in an icy voice. Today was the second time they met. The first time they met, he chased them off. The shadow protecting Konoha. The story that he had been told, it just seemed too fishy, but given how strong he was, he needed to hear him out. Someone this strong, he could change everything. Why do you really want to join us? Tell me your real reasons, the man in the vest demanded. I've heard rumors about you. Your former Sand Village shinobi. You never supported the Kage. You're an elite group from the village, and you, the leader, are particularly good at wind release. I'm counting on that power. The man said without any expression on his face. That doesn't really answer my question. Do you know what kind of organization we are? He asked. You're a terrorist group of rogue ninjas from the Sand Village who are dissatisfied with the Sand Village's structure, the other man replied. The man in the vest was displeased. The disdain in the voice of the other man, the judgmental tone, it didn't sit right with them. That's right, we want to reform the current Sand Village, remove the Kage, and it's a fact that we're looking for a strong shinobi to overthrow this government, but we don't have a grudge against the village as strong as Konoha. Why should we help you? He asked. My powers should be an advantage to your organization. With it, you'll have no trouble with your coup d'etat in the Sand Village. Just by having me on your side ensures victory. However, if you help me bring down Konoha first, I'll destroy those in the Sand Village who get in your way, the man replied. The other man in the vest snorted and he shook his head. We need your help. You're powerful. We know who you are. You'll lend us your support, but you have the wrong idea here. Where do you get off talking to us like that? He asked. Because you're weak compared to me. You're the ones who have the wrong idea here. I'm not making you my comrades. You are my subordinates. You work for me. The weak don't question the strong. That's the way that it is. The man in the vest immediately wove signs with both of his hands. Wind style wind slash. The slicing wind assaulted the other man, severing all four limbs from his body simultaneously. So the rumors are true. You are good. A voice said from behind him, and the man in the vest realized that he'd been pierced from behind with the sword. It was then he realized that he'd been placed under a genjutsu even before he finished weaving his hand sign. Ninja suddenly rushed in from all sides, all of them Sand Village Anbu wearing masks, descending upon the area. The man in the coat leapt a great distance away after turning to show his face to the Anbu, and suddenly angry roars and sounds of ninja tools clanging filled the area in the midst of the sandstorm. End quote. Now, if it isn't obvious by now, the man in the mask was supposed to be Sasuke, but it isn't the real Sasuke per se. It's a Konoha Anbu loyal to Danzo who has taken on Sasuke's appearance and begun spinning the tale that he did. The Anbu blackouts from the Sand Village were allowed to find the place of the area. They were allowed to hear this fake Sasuke speak of killing the Kage and his aides, and after this group of rogue ninjas helped him take down Konoha, this fake Sasuke made it clear he was taking over, basically saying without saying he's building his own army. That's where the framing comes into play. That's a first-hand account of someone pretending to be Sasuke openly speaking treason during a time where there's still pockets of moderate sympathizers out there who believed that the ninja system needed to be torn down, and Sasuke was literally someone who just over 2 years ago started the ninja war on the other side. The idea of Sasuke building an army, it isn't crazy either, since any fight against Konoha basically comes down to him fighting Naruto and the army taking on all-powerful shinobi in Konoha in a surprise attack. Sasuke by himself, he is powerful, but he's not powerful enough to take on Konoha by himself. The timing of this scene, it is brilliant too. because shortly after this, the feudal lord of the Land of Fire is targeted in a similar manner, and the Anbu loyal to Danzo use this entire situation to begin luring Sakura away from her duties in an attempt to use her against both Kakashi as well as Sasuke. Kakashi would be too busy trying to keep the Kage from insisting Kakashi uphold his promise to have Sasuke executed if he ever went evil again, hence the framing attempt. Sasuke himself was on a redemption journey, working the occasional job for Konoha, but mostly off the grid, looking into the origins of the Akatsuki and various things about the Uchiha clan and the ninja world itself. Timing this in a way to begin luring Sakura out, it's deliberate. These Anbu, loyal to Danzo, knew of Sakura's love for Sasuke. One whiff that Sasuke might be on the wrong track again, and she would lead the village long enough to be ambushed and to be taken. As we've seen countless times in Naruto, it does not matter how strong you are. If you are off guard, you can be had. Either way, they wanted Sasuke's body to get his DNA, dead or alive, to complete the ninja tech research that they were doing, and to eventually break the Shinobi Alliance and restart the war economy that Kakashi was dismantling. They believed Danzo wouldn't have approved of what Kakashi was doing as Hokage, and during that last bit of Tsunade's tenure as Hokage before she made Kakashi Hokage and carried on into Kakashi's early years, there was a rounding up of shinobi loyal to Danzo. People like Sumere's father had to flee or go under the radar, but others, like these shinobi, they were plotting their own revenge, hoping against hope as well, putting into play that a small, well thought out plan could tip the scales in the way that they needed, especially since they were the true smart ones in this scenario. Danzo, he had been experimenting with Hashirama cells, but these Anbu realized if Hashirama cells were this powerful, what could they do if they got Naruto and Sasuke cells? And the first thing they tried experimenting with and had moderate success for was taking Naruto's DNA, making a tailed beast drug, and giving people a portion of the power of a tailed beast, allowing them to use things like Bijudama and etc. and get strength amps. But because of where research was at that point in time, it was incomplete. And they had even harder time with Sasuke's DNA, trying to recreate the powers of the Sharingan, sell a tailed beast drug to one side of the war, and then sell a Sharingan drug to the other side of the war. You're printing money at that point, which is why they needed to get more of Naruto and Sasuke's DNA, in particular Sasuke's DNA, hence the plan that they put together. Because the DNA they were able to get from going to the final valley and scraping up the traces of DNA left behind from that fight wasn't enough to do what they needed. Their DNA was something that was coveted, and it made sense. Look at what Hashirama cells can do. Now imagine what the DNA of two people stronger than Hashirama would be able to accomplish. It's not the craziest thing either. You've heard me say before here on the channel, if you're a longtime viewer, a lot of what happens during the blank period sets the stage for things that you see in Boruto, like how we have a certain mad scientist in the Boruto era who has been experimenting with Shibai Otsutsuki, the Otsutsuki god's DNA. Elements of stuff like that started in this blank period where the technology boom that happened on the Kakashi really began to hit an upswing. Their plan was to use both shinobi's DNA in a similar way that the Akatsuki planned to use the Biju, where Nagato basically planned to hand them out as weapons for a way to force peace. Only these Anbu, they wanted to remake Konoha in Danzo's image while lining their own pockets with the profit that came from selling Naruto and Sasuke's DNA for war purposes, until they found out a way to take Naruto out the equation, since by this point in time it was pretty much known Naruto is going to be the next Hokage. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. It takes a special kind of ambition, borderline crazy, to make a move like this, and it's another sign of the ninja world moving towards what we see in Boruto, where this is just one of a few things that occurred during the blank period. Which, to learn more about what happens during the blank period, click here to watch more videos from the After Naruto Shippuden playlist, or click here to watch this new video from my Anime Explained channel where I discuss non-Naruto content.